Do like and subscribe this channel for more interesting stories.
On a sunny afternoon, Mrs. Willow, the cheerful teacher of Oakwood School, gathered her class for a very special outdoor lesson.
Today, we're going to learn about love and kindness by visiting some of our animal friends.
All right, class, Mrs. Willow said, clapping her hands.
Are you ready for an adventure?
Yes, the kids shouted, grabbing their hats and notebooks. The first stop was the rabbit burrow, where a fluffy bunny named Daisy hopped over to greet them.
Daisy loves carrots.
Mrs. Willow explained, but one day,
Her friend Benny the squirrel needed food for the winter. Do you know what Daisy did?
She shared her carrots.
guessed Lily, her pigtails bouncing.
That's right.
Mrs. Willow nodded.
Love means sharing, even when it's not easy. Let's share something with Daisy now.
The kids giggled as they each placed a tiny piece of carrot in Daisy's bowl. Daisy wiggled her nose happily. Next, Mrs. Willow led the class to a big oak tree where birds chirped loudly. One of them, a little bluebird named Sky, flapped her wings excitedly.
Sky has a story too, Mrs. Willow said. One day, her nest fell from the tree during a storm. She couldn't fix it alone, so her friends came to help. What does that tell us about love?
It means helping people when they're in trouble.
Said Sam, holding up his hand.
Exactly.
Said Mrs. Willow. The kids picked up twigs and helped.
Practice nest in the grass.
Mrs. Willow waved a tiny. Sky sang a happy song in return. The final stop was the pond, where a waddling family of ducks splashed in the water. But one duck looked a little different. Her feathers were bright orange instead of white. This is Poppy, Mrs. Willow said, pointing to the orange duck.
At first, the other ducks teased her for looking different, but then they realized that her bright feathers made her special. Now they love her just the way she is.
The kids clapped.
That's so nice. Love means accepting our friends for who they are.
Said Ellie.
Even if they're not exactly like us, Mrs. Willow said. Now, let's show Poppy some love by feeding her some seeds.
The children tossed seeds into the pond, and Poppy quacked loudly, splashing happily. The kids cheered and hugged Mrs. Willow. That was the best lesson ever. Mrs. Willow smiled.
Remember, love isn't just for the garden, it's for everywhere.